Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I am kind of finishing up this leaf journal. So right here, I've got my all my leaves that are decorated, and now I'm gluing them in. And then eventually I will be sewing each little hump. I don't know what to say about those. What do you call those? But um, I think I messed up on one of them. I don't know why I did a thumbs down. I can't remember. But I know I did mess up on a couple of them. I had a couple of them the wrong direction, so I had to kind of fix that a little bit. But this was an interesting. This was a really fun journal to make, I'll be honest. It took me a little longer to do just because I had other projects going on kind of at the same time, but it was a fun little break every time I wanted to have a quick break. So I'm definitely going to do more of these, I think, because even though I won't do a fall leaf journal, I love the idea of it and using up your scraps. It's a fun way to do that. So no earth-shattering rocket science going on here. Just trying to keep the leaves in the same order that I had them in originally, and basically just kind of tacking them down here. Not sure if anyone's noticed yet. I would be surprised if you had. There's that number 3 on that brown leaf. I had a 2, a 3, 4, and a 5. And I thought, oh, that would be fun if I just kind of used those throughout there and kept them in order. So I don't, there's no special meaning to it, just it happened to be that way. So thought it would be fun. I guess whoever ended up with this journal could maybe make something, make a meaning out of it potentially. One thing I did notice though is the different lengths of the leaves was a little bit troublesome. Well, not troublesome. I just had to kind of think through it a little bit more. Those shorter maple leaves there, it just, I had to kind of adjust a little bit for them. So that'll just be something for me to remember for the next time I do something like this, just to try and keep my pieces as close to the same width as I can. So here I'm realizing I've got some that are going the wrong direction, and on the purple one with the watering can, I decided, what did I do? Oh, I think here I'm looking for another purple one that might work, or even just another leaf that might work. So in the end, I decided to cut the stem in a way that made it look like the tip, and then I cut the tip to kind of hide the fact that it's no longer it's not a stem. So probably if I hadn't told everyone, you would never notice that. But that's what I ended up doing there. Yeah, and that kind of just threw off my little rhythm I had there, but in the end it worked out okay, so not a big deal. Fortunately, the ones that I had that were the wrong direction were easy to fix or turn around so that they would work. So I like that bingo one on the bottom. It turned out really cute. And that purple one is maybe my favorite. That's actually a little envelope, and then there's a little piece of paper on the inside of the envelope that you can take out and write something on. I just love all the colors and everything that's going on with the leaves on this journal. The leaves themselves were a little bit brighter in color, but the scraps and ephemera that I had that I was going to use was more distressed and aged looking, and I was a little bit honestly I don't want to say nervous. I noticed it and I thought about it, but not for very long. I mean, in the end, I knew it was going to turn out okay, so I wasn't too worried about it. But I think the way that it ended up turning out really neat looking. The leaves themselves are kind of just a hint of a pop of color, which is what I was really hoping for. And then the rest of it, I feel like kind of just takes over and is the star of the show, basically. So, oh, and here, this is another one that it was done the wrong way around. So thankfully, all I had to do is take the little butterfly off and glue it, and then same thing with those. Just had to take the little washi sticker off and re-glue that down, and then same with that butterfly. So I was trying not to have two butterflies on the same page, but you know what? Who cares? Nobody will notice it besides me, because I just notice everything, I guess. But just glad that I didn't have to redo any of them completely, and I could use all of them the way that they were intended. So, all right, so got the leaves all glued in, quickly flipping through, double checking and making sure everything's kind of lined up. And here now, it's a different day, obviously, different time of the day, and getting the strips of cardboard ready for creating the spine here. And then I'll also be doing the front and back covers too. So kind of a glimpse into how I do the spines if you're curious. So this one was just a little tricky because it was a little bit it wasn't very wide, so it was kind of hard to hang on to, but it had the ridges from the box. This is from a frozen pizza box, and so I was just having a little trouble with that. And then the front and back covers, I took some cardboard and sandwiched those in between some more of that frozen pizza box, and then a Tim Holtz cover of a paper pad. So when you're doing that, if you do that, I've noticed if you put one of each type on both the front and the back, so like I have one piece of the pizza box on the front and back cover, and same with the Tim Holtz paper pad cover. That way it evens it out, and you don't feel one side is different than the other. The feeling of them doesn't feel different. So hopefully that made sense. And then here, these pieces of this cardboard is kind of slick, and it's a little difficult sometimes for the glue to hold. And so all I'm doing is scoring the slick sides so that the glue has a place to hold onto when I'm gluing them on. So here we are, just gluing one side, getting rid of all the extra glue, and then gluing the other side. And notice I left the craft color part of the cardboard on the outside. That helps so it doesn't show through what you're covering the cover with. And this time I decided to go ahead and use some fabric. So, and obviously here again I'm scoring the slip pieces of cardboard, and the craft colored side doesn't need it because it'll stick fine. So I think I used 4 pieces there. And then here I'm going to weigh them down so that they dry flat. Alright, and so here we are another time now. I'm prepping the fabric to wrap around the front and back covers. Oh, it was probably hard to see, but I have a little spray bottle of water next to me, and I just spritzed them lightly with a little bit of water because I wanted to get rid of the wrinkle. And that one stayed a little bit wet for a while, but I worked around it. It was okay. So. And then there I was just kind of thinking, do I want to design it first and maybe sew and before I put it on the cardboard? And in the end I decided no, I'll go ahead and not do any sewing on this. I'll just glue everything down. So here I'm just gluing the fabric onto the base, very carefully making those nice mitered corners. It's a little tricky, and even after all the times I've done it, I still sometimes have problems with it. It's just one of those things. I don't know. On the side that the fabric is going to be on, that you would see, I was a little lighter with the glue because that glue will seep through the fabric and you would see it. So I always try to smooth it out with my finger before I glue it down. I've noticed that that really helps to keep it from showing through to the other side. And depending on the weight of your fabric too, it may or may not, but I'm just always as careful as I can be because I want it to look nice for you. So finishing this up, just kind of getting everything secured down, and there you can see the glue showing through, but you won't be able to see that anyway, so I wasn't too worried. And here I was kind of just inspecting my corners and deciding which ones weren't as good, and so I wrote spine on the inside, so I knew those would be facing into the spine, and I would be covering that with fabric, the spine fabric. So all right, and then I grabbed my my jar of extra pieces of fabric, just kind of looking for things to collage with, and picked out a few things that I've been using already on the leaves. And then I always forget about that little bag of fabric birds, but I found it again and decided he would be cute to put on the front there. So here I'm just kind of arranging things the way that I want them to be, and found a piece of cheesecloth there just to add a little bit more texture. And alright, so now it's time to glue it down. I went really quick. To be honest with you, I don't usually do these quite that quickly, but in the end I think it turned out really great, and I'm glad that I went that quickly. So this is a little piece of sari silk. I wanted to cover the bottom part of that flower because I didn't really like the way I had cut it off, the sticker part of it. And then because sari silk is so thin, some of the glue was showing through. So I decided to go find, I have some brown velvet ribbon, and decided to go find a piece of that and covered most of the glue with that. And so here we have my pokey tool, and I'm just making holes because I'm going to do some cross stitch across the top there just to make sure it stays more secure, but also give it some of that primitive feel. And yep, here I'm just getting the needle and thread ready. I'm sad that I'm almost out of that thread. It's a really pretty color, and I love it so much. It's antique. I almost wish I wouldn't have used it, but I'm glad that I did because I was able to share it with other people and hopefully they appreciate it too just as much. But I really want to find some more of it or something similar to it. I just haven't run across it yet. So, and then at the bottom there, I decided to go ahead and run a straight stitch across that ribbon just to make sure it stays even more secure than I already had it with the glue. Plus, it helps to balance out the cross stitch on the top, so it's not as noticeable, but when you see it up close, you'll see it. All right, so grabbing my spine that I curved and getting the spine fabric ready here. I've got some red and orange ticking fabric that I picked up. I don't even remember how long ago. I've had it a while. And oh, yep. I was watching TV and the football game was over, so it was time to find something different to watch. Yes, we won. Yay! Came down to a field goal at the very last play, and that was it, and it was pretty great. So all right, so got the fabric onto the spine there, and now I'm lining that up. It was a little closer to the spine than I wanted, but I decided to go ahead and go with it. It'll work, it'll loosen up a little bit through use. But here I'm just kind of smoothing out the fabric, making sure everything's stuck down, and folding up the sides. I like to cut the fabric down there into thirds. It just kind of seems to work a little bit better when you do that. So there we go. Now I'm even though you're really not going to see it, I needed to add some more stability to the spine. And I had that spare piece of fabric left over. So I decided if you could see part of the spine in the inside, I wanted to make sure it looked nice. So I just added another piece of fabric there in the middle and just gluing that down. Again, just being very careful not to over glue, but make sure it's sturdy. And then here, sticking that down. And like I said, you're never going to see this fabric here, but it does add stability. So I don't care that they're going different directions there because you're not going to see that. So, all right. So there I was just measuring to get the size for the inside, front, and back papers, and just doing a little very minimal distressing on them there, just to kind of, I don't know, add a little something. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. This really kind of depends on, I guess, my mood. But all right, so here I'm realizing I cut them just slightly too long. What I should have done before I put glue on them was just test it out and make sure that they were the right length, but I didn't do that. So don't get cocky. Don't be like me. So I had to kind of change it, and I don't think it's too noticeable, but that is always also why I always start with the back cover, because, I don't know, I feel like The back cover is not as noticeable maybe. But all right, so now I'm getting ready to glue in the guts of the book here. So I got it lined up to the way that I wanted, and just gluing it in. So this will be ready for sale soon, and I'll have that video out very soon, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.